But it is kind of ironic that Taylor Swift is now hanging out with another friend who's also in a Colleen Hoover movie. Hi, and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Tashti Flo, and here on my channel, I talk about my good and bad experiences in Hollywood working as an entertainment reporter, and a lot about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's legal drama. First of all, thank you guys so much for being so kind about my podcast. It's always nerve-wracking to try something new, and I've never done these long formats before. So, yeah, I really appreciate all your support. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm on Amazon, Spotify, Apple, and iHeart with a weekly longer segment that's going to be out every Friday. I am probably going to talk about a lot of other things than I talk about here on my daily updates on YouTube. So please, if you're interested in that, I'll also post them here on YouTube as well under my podcast share. So yeah, thank you guys. And also thank you to everyone who sent me amazing tips again. You guys are so good at doing research. I'm like, wow, you should work for the FBI. Some of you guys, you're amazing. It's hot in Spain and I have the AC on and I'm still sweating a little bit. I just came back from playing padel, which is like a racket sport. So I hope I don't get too shiny. Anyways, so there's a news out there from Taylor Swift's camp. She's been out and about and she has been celebrating because she's got all her masters back. It's been taking her years and she paid like, I don't know, someplace it says between 600 million and $1 billion to get her songs back. And some other source says $360 million. Anyways, Taylor Swift had a great reason to celebrate because she got all her work back. And the way she did that was go out and about in New York City. And of course, she wanted to celebrate this with her friends and not Blake Lively. This is quite funny. Well, so she was wearing a floral dress. And as Daily Mail points out in their article, do you think it's a dig at Blake Lively that she was wearing florals? There's even a comment here from a source who says that Taylor has been loving florals lately. She feels the style is a perfect fit for spring. But could the outfit mean something more? I mean, we remember that Blake Lively wasn't wearing anything else but florals throughout the entire press tour for It Ends With Us. She was pictured, I don't know, probably like 25, 30 different floral dresses. It was all about floral, floral, floral. And now Taylor Swift is wearing a floral dress when she's out and about with her friend Dakota Johnson. Dakota and Taylor has been friends for over 10 years. There's a picture of the two of them back in 2014. So this is not a new friendship. And I have to say, I really like Dakota Johnson. I think she's super cool. I've interviewed her many times and she's always so relaxed. Yeah, I think she's really cool. And I like both her dads as well. Don Johnson is the most charming man I've met in my whole life. He was so positive and sweet when I met him, and Antonio Banderas as well. So I think she's been brought up well. And I feel like she's real. So I do think it's a good choice for Taylor Swift to hang out with her. Anyways, another side note here is that Dakota Johnson is currently shooting another Colleen Hoover movie called Verity. So she's shooting the movie in New York City with Josh Hartnett. And as we know, Colleen Hoover and Blake Lively, I don't think they're on speaking terms anymore. Colleen Hoover went out and publicly supported her and received so much backlash, as you remember. And then she just deleted her Instagram. So her Instagram was just gone one day and she had like over 2 million followers. And then all of a sudden, again, 2 weeks later, she was back on again. And she's been silent about the whole It Ends With Us drama after that. So I don't think she wants to be a part of this at all, but she obviously is. And I'm sure she's going to get a subpoena, or if she hasn't already gotten one. But it is kind of ironic that Taylor Swift is now hanging out with another friend who's also in a Colleen Hoover movie. Another thing is when someone like Taylor Swift decides to go out in New York City to a public restaurant, she knows she's going to get photographed. And maybe that's the reason why she chose to go out in a public restaurant. I've seen her. I used to live in New York and I remember she was dating, I don't remember which one of the guys she was dating, but she went into a pizza restaurant in the neighborhood and everyone went crazy. So it's like if you go to a restaurant to have a chill meal with your friends just to celebrate in peace, that's never gonna happen. Especially, if you're Taylor Swift and then Dakota Johnson comes along but anyways, they are speculating in these articles that Taylor Swift did this to have a dig at Blake Lively. I just checked out Dakota Johnson's Instagram, and she's not following Blake Lively either. So yeah, I don't know if it is a dig at Blake or not. But as we know, Taylor Swift loves these little mysteries and leaving little Easter eggs out there for people to keep guessing. And maybe this is one of those. It also says here that her relationship with Blake Lively is they haven't spoken since this happened, which doesn't surprise me at all. Why would she speak to her ever again? I wouldn't. So I think, yeah, of course, that relationship is broken forever. Also interesting what's going on now, because as you might remember, if you watched my episode on Friday, I reported that Tom Brady allegedly had left his PR company, Stephanie Jones Work. This information came from Katie over at Without a Crystal Ball, who said she had received this information from a source. And she said that it's not public yet because the contract it's not the end of the contract yet, but he had dropped Stephanie Jones as his publicist, or that company representing him. And now Katie from Without a Crystal Ball is reporting on Instagram that she has received legal threats from Stephanie Jones for putting that out there. But then Perez Hilton reported on this as well, saying that he had separate sources that had confirmed to him that Tom Brady is out. He said that the contract hasn't run out yet, so he's still with them legally, but he's on his way out. Yeah, I'm just gonna say allegedly here all the time, so I don't get in trouble. Yeah, so let's see what happens there. I love that Katie actually published that she has been threatened with legal threats from Stephanie Jones. I'm sure that Stephanie Jones is not feeling great right now because it seems like she's not a very trustworthy person. So if you are a high-profiled celebrity, why would you trust a company like that are willing to give out information like she did to Blake Lively's team from one of our employers' phones? Yeah, I wouldn't trust a person like that to represent me. Also, big thank to Angela, who found out this. This is really interesting. Very good intel here. So she found out that one of the advocacy or the organizations that filed an amicus brief on behalf of Blake Lively last week, remember, they sent three organizations or advocacies sent a letter to the judge at Lehman and said that, you should use this Me Too law so that Justin Baldoni has to drop his defamation lawsuit against Blake Lively because we have this law that we created in California, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, Angela found out that Ezra Hudson, who is representing Blake Lively, one of Blake Lively's lawyers, one of the ones that have been mostly out in the press, she is on the board of that organization. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. She also says in the email to me, another one of them was California Employment Lawyers Association. Ezra is likely a member as she's head of managed employment and labor practices. She says here this probably has no legal ramifications like it would if there was a connection between these nonprofits and Blake. However, the connection to Ezra looks bad and means there was likely a prompt from Ezra for them to be filed. For sure. This just makes everything look so terrible. I just don't understand these lawyers who represent celebrities or big clients like this that are willing to go so far because it makes them look bad as people as well. I know it's their job to defend someone or to speak for someone else, but I don't know how some of these attorneys sleep at night because this is hurting other real victims, what they're doing here. It's just mind-boggling to me. So another person, thank you so much, Sal, for sending me this. She reached out to one of the other advocacies or other organizations here, equal rights advocates, and asked them, why are you supporting Blake Lively? And she got an interesting answer because they were saying, when we file a legal brief, we're defending the principle behind a law, not one person involved in the case. Think of it like this. If someone you really dislike get pulled over for speeding and they challenge the speed limit law in court, the city would defend that law, not because they support that person, but because speed limits protects everyone. The same principle applies here. We're defending Assembly Bill 933, authored by Assembly majority leaders, blah, 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 because it protects all survivors of SA harassment and discrimination from retaliatory defamation suits. It's interesting, they only mentioned SA, which is a lot more serious than SH is as well. And she forgets to mention if it's actually true, if the allegations are actually true, and if they've seen evidence that these allegations are actually true, which they haven't. She says here, though, these law clarifies that claims made in good faith. So they think, or they feel, or they mean that Blake Lively made these claims in good faith, are protected speech. It stops people from weaponizing our justice system against those who speak out about abuse. Okay, so who's weaponizing the legal system here? Just asking. This is literally how a legal system is supposed to work. I hope not. Court needs to hear all advocates to interpret the law appropriately. Yeah, so bottom line here is really that they don't support Blake as a person or her lawsuit. They're just supporting this law. It seemed like that from the letter they wrote, though. But anyways, so yeah, maybe they got cold feet. People are pulling their support for them. Who knows? It's just not a good look for any advocacy like this to support someone that have been proven to lie about these allegations. Anyways, in the meantime, Blake Lively is celebrating that her Mist and other Blake Brown products are being sold out at Target at 80% off. Yeah, they're 80% off. I saw this video on TikTok. Someone was recording that all her products are 80% off, but still Blake is pushing it on TikTok like, oh my God, look, we sold out all our products. Yeah, congratulations to Blake Brown, which is a non-talker over at Target. Apparently, they don't even talk about the brand anymore. They're so upset about this brand that they had big hopes for and, put a lot of money and effort into, and it completely bombed because of the lawsuit and because of Blake Lively's basically her behavior during that press tour. And I did a bigger segment on it last week, I think it was, and how much money they're actually losing on Blake Brown. Another interesting thing here. Thank you, Glenda. Another one of my favorite investigators here on Blossom Talk. You always send me amazing stuff. So she found out that Betty Buzz and Betty Boo's CEO, Nishad Gupta, has just left the company. She wrote that he jumped ship in March, which is quite interesting. And she's like, do you think he left because they're going down? Because a lot of CEOs leave the ship before it sinks so that they can have a good CV and brag about all their achievements before things start going really sour. Yeah, there's a story here that he now has a new job. So congrats to him for leaving before things got really bad for Betty Buzz and Betty Booze as well. I don't think any of Blake Lively's businesses are going to survive this, honestly. I think maybe Ryan Reynolds, because people are still sucking up to him big time. He's got so much power, he's got so much money. But Blake, her businesses are done, and I think her career as an actress is done unless Ryan Reynolds hires her in one of his movies, maybe to be the voice of Lady Pool next time or something like that. But I think that's as far as Blake Lively is going to go when this is over. Because who wants to hire someone that sues you when you say that they smell good? Anyways, that's it from you guys. I hope you enjoyed this episode and have a lovely Sunday. And again, thank you for sending me all this stuff. I'm so in awe of all the research that you guys are doing for me. As I said before, I wouldn't be able to do this without you. I wouldn't have enough time. Yeah, because research like this takes a long time. So yeah, thank you for everyone who made this episode possible. I really appreciate all of you so much. And as Ashley said, she was a guest in here yesterday, and she said, you have the best community. And I was like, I do actually. I do have the best community. You guys are so amazing. Anyways, thanks for being here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do and hit the notification bell. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.